The Longevity Diet. Discover the new science behind stem cell activation and regeneration to slow aging, fight disease, and optimize weight, by Valter Longo, Ph.D. Hey there, pull up a chair. I've got a story for you, and trust me, it's worth your time. Picture this. It's the 1980s, and there's this young guy from southern Italy stepping off a plane in Chicago. He's got a guitar slung over his shoulder and rockstar dreams lighting up his eyes. Classic story, right? Kid wants to make it big in America. But here's where it gets interesting. Back home in Calabria, this kid grew up surrounded by people who seemed almost immortal. His neighbors were hitting 90, even 100 years old, and they weren't just alive, they were thriving. Dancing at weddings, working in their gardens, full of energy and life. Then he lands in Chicago, moves in with relatives, and something doesn't add up. These are people from the same village, with the same genes, but here in America they're falling apart. Diabetes. Heart disease. Problems that were practically unheard of back home. And the difference? Those massive American portions, loaded with meat, cheese, and sugar. It haunted him. This wasn't just puzzling, it was heartbreaking. And that question, that burning curiosity about why this was happening, completely derailed his rockstar dreams. He realized he didn't want to be on stage playing guitar. He wanted to crack the code on aging itself. What if getting old and sick wasn't inevitable? What if it was more like software? And what if the typical American diet was running a corrupted program, basically fast-forwarding the aging process? So, Valter Longo traded his guitar for a lab coat and a microscope. He spent the next 3 decades on an entirely different kind of quest, figuring out not just why we age, but how we might stay young. And what he discovered is genuinely mind-blowing. He found a hidden switch buried deep in our cells, a kind of regeneration program that most of us never even activate. Today, we're diving into his life's work, captured in the international bestseller, The Longevity Diet. Now, I get it. You're probably thinking, oh great, another diet book. But hear me out. This is completely different. This isn't some trendy cleanse or quick fix weight loss scheme. This book has sold millions of copies because it's essentially a user's manual for your body's own healing superpowers. And it's written by one of the world's top scientists on longevity, the director of the Longevity Institute at USC, no less. Here's what I'm going to show you. By the end of this, you'll understand the brilliant 2-part system he discovered. First, there's an everyday eating approach that keeps your body in optimal maintenance mode. And second, there's this remarkable 5-day protocol that basically tricks your body into thinking it's fasting, flipping that hidden regeneration switch and unleashing a flood of stem cells to rebuild you from the inside out. This is the actual science of staying young. And it all started with that guitar-playing dreamer from Italy, who gave up his shot at rock stardom to give the world something far more valuable. When Valter Longo first jumped into longevity research, the entire field was obsessed with one concept: calorie restriction. He landed a position working with Dr. Roy Walford, the world's leading expert on the topic. Walford was so committed to the idea that he famously locked himself and 7 other people inside Biosphere 2, this massive dome structure in the Arizona desert, where they lived on severely restricted calories for 2 whole years. When they finally emerged, the results were, well, mixed. Their health numbers were phenomenal: perfect blood pressure, incredible cholesterol levels. But they also looked absolutely miserable, gaunt, exhausted, borderline starving. Longo had this light bulb moment. Sure, it worked on paper, but was this really living? Who wants to reach 110 if you spend every day cold, hungry, and cranky? He thought, there's got to be a better way. He knew the answer was somewhere in our genetics, but here's the problem. Studying aging in humans takes a lifetime. Even in mice, you're looking at years of research. He was impatient. He wanted answers now. So he made a brilliant move and turned to one of the simplest organisms on the planet, baker's yeast. Now, this might sound weird, but you and a microscopic yeast cell actually share a surprising amount of the same genetic survival machinery, and it was here, in these tiny organisms, that he found his first major breakthrough. Instead of just limiting the yeast's food, he completely starved them. He pulled them out of their sugary nutrient bath and dropped them into pure water. And then, something magical happened. The yeast cells didn't just die off. They transformed. They entered this fortress mode, becoming incredibly resilient and protected, and they lived twice as long as normal. This was his eureka moment. The secret wasn't constant food restriction, it was periodic food absence. This fasting state sent a powerful message to the cells. Times are tough. Stop growing. Focus on protection, repair, and survival. But how do you translate this to humans? You can't just tell people to starve themselves for days on end. It's dangerous, impractical, and, like those Biosphere 2 folks, pretty miserable. This is where Longo's genius really shines. He set out to design a diet that would essentially fool the body. Something you could actually eat, that would provide nutrients and energy, but would somehow be invisible to your body's nutrient-sensing systems. A diet that would make your cells think they're fasting, triggering that same protective magic. But before creating it, he needed to be absolutely certain. He couldn't just guess. He needed a rigorous system to cut through all the nutritional noise and find the truth. He developed what he calls the 5 pillars of longevity. This framework is crucial because it's his answer to why we should trust his recommendations. He decided that any advice he gave had to be supported by all 5 pillars, not just 1 or 2 cherry-picked studies. Pillar 1 is juventology, or basic research. This is the yeast stuff, the cellular and molecular biology. Does this concept work at the microscopic level, in our actual DNA? Pillar 2 is epidemiology. This is the big data approach. When we analyze studies following hundreds of thousands of people, what patterns emerge? Do people who eat this way actually live longer and get fewer diseases? Pillar 3 is clinical studies. This is the gold standard. What happens when we take real people right now and put them on this diet? Do their disease risk markers actually improve? Pillar 4 is centenarian studies. This is the common sense reality check. What are people who actually live past 100 doing? He studied communities in Okinawa, Japan, and even his home region of Calabria, Italy, to see what they genuinely ate. Pillar 5 is the study of complex systems. This is the engineering perspective. Does this make logical sense? He compares the body to a car. A car needs fuel, sure, but it also needs oil, coolant, and regular maintenance. A diet that only focuses on one aspect, like all gas and no oil, is bound to fail eventually. For 30 years, he filtered every piece of nutritional science through these 5 pillars. The result was a 2-part solution that genuinely separates him from every other diet guru out there. But before finalizing his approach, he stumbled upon one more piece of shocking real-world evidence. He traveled to a remote region of Ecuador, to villages inhabited by people with a rare genetic condition called Laron syndrome. These individuals are quite short in stature, but they possess an incredible secret. Because of their unique genetics, their bodies naturally exist in a low-growth state, similar to that protective shield mode he observed in the yeast. And the results? Many of them are overweight. They don't eat particularly healthy diets. Some even smoke. And yet, they almost never develop cancer, and not a single one had ever been diagnosed with diabetes. Their bodies were essentially immune to 2 of our biggest killers. This was the human proof he needed. It confirmed that aging is indeed like a program. These people had the protection program permanently switched on because of their genetics. The rest of us, Longo explains, have the growth program running constantly. From our sugary breakfast cereal to our late-night snacks, we're sending our bodies the same message all day long: grow, grow, grow. And a body stuck in perpetual growth mode doesn't have time for cleanup, repair, and regeneration. A body that's always growing is also always aging. So here's the 2-part solution he developed, supported by all 5 pillars, to give us the same protection as those Laron individuals, but without requiring a genetic mutation. Part 1. The Longevity Diet. This is your everyday maintenance program, your 95% solution. It's actually a beautiful, simple, and satisfying way to eat. It's not no carb, it's not no fat. He describes it as low but sufficient protein, high good fats, and high complex carbs. Here are the key principles. First, it's primarily a pescatarian approach. This means it's almost entirely plant-based, with lots of vegetables, legumes, like beans, chickpeas, and lentils, nuts, and whole grains, plus a little fish 2 to 3 times a week for those high-quality omega-3s and other important nutrients. Second, and this is probably the most radical idea in the entire book, you need to control your protein intake. Your whole life, especially if you're young and ambitious, you've probably been told to eat more protein. Protein builds muscle. Protein is essential. Protein is your friend. Longo's research reveals this is a dangerous half-truth. He demonstrates that protein, especially animal protein, is essentially the accelerator pedal for the aging program. Consuming high levels of protein is like flooring the gas on that growth signal, basically telling your body to age faster. His massive epidemiological study found that people under 65 who ate a high-protein diet had a 75% increase in overall mortality and a 4-fold increase in death from cancer. But here's the crucial twist. That same high-protein diet was actually protective for people over 65. This is exactly why one-size-fits-all diets are so dangerous. The longevity diet adapts to your life stage. If you're under 65, keep protein low but sufficient. He provides a precise formula, but for most people, it's around 40 to 60 grams daily, mostly from plants and fish. If you're over 65, you actually need to increase your protein. Your body becomes less efficient at using it, and the biggest danger shifts from excessive growth to frailty, losing muscle and bone mass. Third, eat within a 12-hour window. This is simple but surprisingly powerful. If you have your first bite of breakfast at 8 in the morning, finish your last bite of dinner by 8 at night. That's it. Why does this matter? Because it gives your body a 12-hour fast every single night. Your digestive system gets a rest, and your body can dip into that cleanup mode, even if just briefly. He recommends never eating within 3 to 4 hours of going to sleep. That's the everyday plan. It's simple, sustainable, and backed by all 5 pillars. But what about the regeneration part? What about that deep cleaning and those stem cells? That brings us to Part 2, which is Dr. Longo's single greatest contribution to the field. Part 2, the Fasting Mimicking Diet, or FMD. This is your regeneration button. Longo knew that a 5-day water-only fast was the gold standard for triggering that protective fortress mode. But he also knew that almost nobody could or should attempt it safely. So his lab invested years and millions of dollars in research grants from institutions like the National Institute on Aging to design a 5-day meal plan that essentially tricks your body. It's a specific 5-day program of plant-based soups, nut bars, olives, and teas. It's low in calories but critically low in protein and specific sugars. It provides just enough food to keep you from feeling starved, but because of its precise composition, it's invisible to your body's nutrient sensors. Your cells think you're on a 5-day water-only fast, and then the cascade of rejuvenation begins. It's like a symphony playing out inside you. During days 1 and 2, your body flips the switch. It burns through all its stored sugar. Your growth signals like IGF-1 plummet. Your body enters that magic shield mode with a focus on protection, repair, and survival. On days 3, 4, and 5, the deep cleaning kicks into high gear. This is when autophagy really accelerates. This is one of nature's most incredible processes. Your healthy cells, desperate for fuel, begin hunting down and consuming the old, broken, dysfunctional parts inside themselves. They devour old proteins, damaged mitochondria, and cellular junk. He uses this beautiful analogy. Imagine a steam locomotive running out of fuel. To reach the next station, the fireman starts burning the train's old, broken wooden seats. This accomplishes two things at once. It provides fuel, and it clears out the junk. Simultaneously, your body is eliminating old, dysfunctional cells, especially in your immune system. But here's where the real miracle unfolds. On day 5, your body, now in this deep fasting state, starts preparing for the famine to end. It activates your stem cells. These are the blank master cells in your body, the ones that can transform into anything. New immune cells, new pancreatic cells, new brain cells. They wake up, ready and waiting. And then comes day 6. You start eating normally again. You return to your regular, healthy diet. This is actually the most critical part. The signal goes out throughout your entire body. The famine is over. Food is here. Time to rebuild. And those activated stem cells rush in, like a construction crew, arriving at a freshly cleared worksite. All the old, broken parts have been removed, and now the stem cells get busy rebuilding your systems with new, fresh, younger cells. His clinical studies on this are absolutely staggering. In a landmark study with 100 participants, people who completed the 5-day FMD just once a month for only 3 months saw incredible results. They lost weight, specifically that dangerous abdominal fat, while actually preserving their muscle mass. Their markers for aging and disease dropped dramatically. Those with high cholesterol saw it decrease. Those with high blood pressure saw it normalize. Those in the pre-diabetic range saw their glucose return to healthy levels. Inflammation markers, a key driver of aging, dropped significantly. This isn't just a diet. It's essentially a juvenatology treatment. It's like a 5-day software update for your entire body. And the potential applications are profound. In his laboratory, he's observed this magic shield, which he calls differential stress resistance, do some truly incredible things. In mice, when they combined the FMD with chemotherapy, the results were astonishing. The FMD acted like a protective shield for healthy cells, making them tough and resistant to the chemo's toxicity. But it simultaneously made cancer cells weaker and more vulnerable. In some cases, the combination actually cured cancers that chemotherapy alone couldn't touch. In mice with a condition similar to multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disease, the FMD essentially rebooted their entire immune system. It eliminated the problematic autoimmune cells attacking the body, and then stem cells rebuilt a new, healthy immune system that no longer attacked itself. In mice with diabetes, the FMD cycles actually triggered regeneration of the pancreas, allowing it to produce insulin again. This is the power Dr. Longo uncovered, and it's not hidden in some pill or injection. It's been inside you, inside all of us, this entire time. It's a program for protection, repair, and regeneration, just waiting for the right signal to activate. When you finish a book like The Longevity Diet, you realize you haven't just read another diet plan. You've been given a completely new lens for seeing your own body. For me, the most powerful concept in this entire book is the fundamental shift in perspective. We're so conditioned to think of aging as a one-way street, an inevitable decline. We see our bodies as machines destined to rust and break down over time. Dr. Longo's work, which he calls juvenatology, the study of staying young, completely reframes everything. His research shows us that our bodies aren't just cars that rust. They're cars with their own built-in auto repair shops. But we've kept the garage door locked for decades. We've kept it locked with constant eating, with a diet that's screaming growth 24/7, never giving our bodies the quiet, peaceful repair signal they desperately need. This book is essentially the key to that garage door. It's a deeply empowering message. It tells you that your body possesses this ancient, powerful wisdom. It knows how to heal itself. It knows how to clean itself out. It knows how to regenerate. We've just forgotten how to speak its language. Dr. Longo's work is the translation guide. The everyday longevity diet is like polite, respectful daily conversation with your body. And the periodic FMD is that powerful, all-hands-on-deck command that unleashes a 5-day miracle of renewal. Now, if you're young and listening to this, you might be thinking, this sounds like it's for old people. I'm not worried about cancer or heart disease yet. But think about this. You definitely care about performance. You want to think clearly for your exams, have energy for sports or work, look and feel your absolute best. This is actually the ultimate performance program because it's not about adding some stimulant or supplement. It's about removing the accumulated junk that's been holding you back. So how can you actually apply this? You don't need to go extreme. Here are a few simple, practical steps you can consider starting today. 1. Start with the eating window. This is honestly the easiest and most powerful first step. Just try to eat all your food within a 12-hour window. Finish dinner by 7 or 8 in the evening, and don't eat again until 7 or 8 the next morning. This single change gives your body a 12-hour fast every night to clean up and reset. 2. Ask yourself, what did my ancestors eat? This is such a beautiful concept from the book. Before jumping on the latest superfood trend, pause and ask, what did my great-great-grandparents eat? Were they from Italy, eating olives and beans? From Japan, eating fish and seaweed? From West Africa, eating yams and leafy greens? Your body has been optimized over thousands of years for a certain way of eating. Moving closer to that ancestral diet is almost always a wise choice. 3. Just notice your protein intake. You don't need to become a nutritionist. Just start paying attention. Notice how much protein, especially animal protein, you're consuming. The fitness world constantly tells you to have a protein shake after workouts, chicken breast for lunch, and steak for dinner. Longo's science suggests this is like keeping the accelerator floored on your aging process. Maybe, just maybe, low but sufficient is actually the smarter, more elegant path to a long and vibrant life. That wraps up our journey through The Longevity Diet by Dr. Valter Longo. We've explored the biggest ideas today, but I'll be honest with you. A summary, even a detailed one like this, is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. Actually reading the book is like taking the journey yourself. The real magic lives in the details, in the specific science, and in the profound explanations behind every recommendation. This summary is your map, designed to help you decide if this is a trip worth taking. If anything we've talked about today, that hidden magic shield, the power of your stem cells, the idea of essentially rebooting your own body, has sparked something in you, then I genuinely hope you'll grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning information. It's an experience that could legitimately change how you see your own biology for the rest of your life. There's a link to the book in the description. And one final thought. If this conversation has brought you any value or sparked any new ideas, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It's a small action, but it tells us this work matters, and it helps ensure you won't miss our next exploration of another potentially life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.